Good day, Astoria, and foreigners alike. This is the Astorian Broadcasting Service with a response to Tylerhello's video regarding the situation in Astoria. While you are free to take this video with a grain of salt, we shall attempt to provide as unbiased a presentation of recent events as possible. I, and the rest of the Astorian government, didn't really want to make this video, as we just want to put all this behind us, so I shall explain why this video is being made towards the end. But we'll start by giving some context. Towards the start of November, I, Imperador Libombond, tasked Tyler with reviving the town of Ernushaxa, later renamed to Spardopolis. The reason for this was if a squire took it over after the old claim popped, then they could threaten our ice highway we had built next to Spardopolis. At the same time, I was writing a new constitution for Astoria, as I had noticed there were a lot of issues with the Astorian government, and I wished to fix them. I toyed around with the idea of changing the imperatorship within Astoria, however I was talked out of it by Imperator Johnny Boy Invictus and, at the time, former Imperator Ishamel Zor. This is because the imperatorship provided a bedrock of stability for the nation, and while perhaps it isn't perfect, it was better than unstable democracies like Adramus. I had voiced that I was open to changing the imperatorship to Tyler, and so, on the 12th, if my memory serves, he began pushing me to commit to these changes. I told him no. The next day, he decided to rebel. He was then given amnesty, left Astoria, formed his own town, and came back to raid us over what he had left in his locked chest. This was an unenchanted axe, some shields, a shulker, and a mending fishing rod that belonged to someone else. Now we'll respond to Tyler's video. I will be cutting through the video to respond to the main meat of Tyler's arguments.
The Estonian government has many issues that cannot and will not be fixed until there's new leadership.
Except, we do have new leadership. We got a new imperator with the writing of the new constitution. We also fired all the inactive guild members and replaced them with new ones. We abolished the useless Common Council and expanded the powers and voting of the Senate. Also, side note, it's really funny that Tyler chose a clip of an inactive imperator stepping down as the background footage for part of this rant.
When confronted, they make excuses, whether it be blaming other imperators or blaming the laws they wrote.
The excuses Tyler shows are out of context, so let's provide the context. We were discussing Tyler's suggestions for reforming the Constitution, suggestions I had spitballed, and like I said, I had already been talked out of. And I told Tyler that even if I agreed with him that they would not be implemented, as one of the imperators, who has since been replaced, was inactive, and the Constitution required the only other active imperator to sign off on it, which he did not want to.
My town decided to fight back against the oppressive rule of the dictators.
Tyler decided to revolt literally the day after he was told that his ideas were not good ones. He wasn't fighting back against the dictators. He was mad that someone with leagues more experience thought his ideas weren't good. Additionally, Tyler has never actually given suggestions on how the Astorian government could do better besides the ones that were already decided against. He just says that he would be better as the dictator.
To the point where they actually decide to do the job.
Here is the Google Doc version history, proving we were working on the Constitution for days before Tyler revolted. Aside from a bullet point or two, it was basically complete. His revolt only slowed us down in completing the Constitution, as rather than finishing writing it, we had to fight him.
Picture a world where there was leadership who actually stood for the people.
We imperators do stand for the people. It's our solemn duty to ensure the existence and freedom of an Astorian state. Tyler's citizens have said they want Astoria, quote, collapsed and oppressed. Tyler attacked our capital about 7 times over 2 days, over the crappy items I mentioned before. Anyone is free to leave and join Tyler. However, only a select few who were either completely unengaged with the rest of the nation or who were part of Tyler's previous revolt actually joined him.
If you want Astoria to actually be a nation years from now, that has to be change.
Astoria has stood for nearly 2 years, and the biggest threat to his existence in recent history is Tyler.
Enough of blaming the communists for our government's problems.
We don't blame communism for our problems. We have an RHS chapter in our country, an organization dedicated to advocating for representative government and capitalism, but we don't say, man, the commies ruin everything. The evidence that Tyler shows for his claim is a clip of me explaining to one of our newer citizens why we, the anti-communist nation in lore, do not go and fight our communist neighbors.
Is there, how are they, what is their population?
They're about equal to us.
Yeah. The
On
issue
paper.
The issue is they have the backing of the entire communist world. That's not actually proving his point. He never actually shows me blaming communism for our problems. We don't blame communism for our problems, we just agree on an ideological and economic level.
Especially when our government is actively plotting to take over Lernaskova.
I mean, you just showed a clip of me stressing to the new guy why I think attempting that is a bad idea, but go off.
Enough wasting our only resources.
This is rich coming from the guy who came to raid us specifically to break our armor at one point. Also, I don't know what he means because we haven't put any resources towards killing Lernaskova because, again, it's a bad idea and we don't want to.
Enough of the tyranny that has become Astoria.
On a meta level, we are tyrannical. We're an imperium, and we advertise as such. If one doesn't like that, they can not join in the first place or leave. On a non-meta level, Tyler wishes to destroy the bastion of civilization, and there's nothing more tyrannical than that.
Enough of the lies. Enough of the evilness that has come from your very own government. Enough.
The lie he says we told is that he attacked one of our citizens. Although it's a bit petty, he did. He broke a ceasefire by coming onto our land and punching someone off of a high ledge. In the real world, that's attacking someone, and in Minecraft, that's still attacking someone.
With only 4 people fighting 10 Astorians. We wiped the floor with them. It's honestly funny how bad they lost.
Tyler claims he wiped the floor with us after running away when he had better gear, potions, and mercenaries on his side, while we basically amounted to a town militia. Additionally, we broke a lot of that better gear and wasted a lot of those potions. As I said in the national announcements in the Stoneworks Discord, we'll let the spectator decide the winner. Additionally, I'd like to point out how he shows a screenshot of him saying, "They threatened us first, threatened my aura," showing just how baseless their claims are that they're the underdog victim.
Why do we do this? It's because whenever I was kicked out from Astoria, essentially, they have been gatekeeping, taking all my stuff hostage ever since.
To elaborate further from the context I already provided, Tyler was not kicked out of Astoria. He willingly left after, admittedly, we ragged on him a little bit in VC. At the time, he was temporarily banned for griefing other people, so to make sure he did not come back and cause any trouble, we kicked him from the claim. He then demanded to be let back into the claim to take his stuff out of his locked chests. I was going to have the admins break it for us so we could get it for him, until he started trying to blackmail and lie about our citizens to pressure them into pressuring me into letting him back in. He then called me, and kinda caught me at a bad time, and asked for his stuff back, to which I told him to go kick rocks. His response was to raid our capital again about 7 times over 2 days, and as I said before, he was trying to get back 2 shovels, broken pickaxe, some broken armor, a mending fishing rod, and a shulker.
I get put on a fucking KOS list.
You know that, right?
Yes.
They made me supreme commander of the military, but in that sense, that's Imperador's rule. And I will say, from me to you, if you ever show up in Astorian lands again, you'll probably be killed.
Tyler isn't on our KOS list despite all of this trouble he's caused. That was our head of the military being a bit out of line, which I do apologize for. However, this was one of the people that Tyler tried to lie about and blackmail, so I think it's understandable, while perhaps not justifiable, why he lashed out and said he would kill Tyler. Also, you can hear Regent Baptista trying to rein in Ramjet because we have never as a nation actually wanted to fight Tyler.
Want to know how I apparently broke it? It's because I jokingly hit one of the players off a ledge. Is that really a good reason to start a war?
Again, even though it might be a bit petty, it was a violation of our ceasefire. Someone getting shoved may not be a great reason to start a war, but do you know what is? Someone violating a ceasefire by coming onto your territory and harassing one of your citizens who was just trying to work on one of their projects.
With them taking 30 minutes in a 1v6 to kill me.
Because unlike Tyler and his cohort, our soldiers are actually able to respect a peace agreement until it's confirmed that the other side broke it. The rest is basically Tyler appealing for money and allies. Now, the reason why this video is being made is not only to tell the Astorian side of the story, but because Tyler is once again searching for a reason to go to war. On the 23rd, I got a DM from Tyler claiming that we broke the peace agreement we agreed to on the 22nd. This is because Tyler asked the King of Fraternites, an Astorian ally, to teleport to him and immediately told him to leave. The king, named Lipsy, did not leave for about 6 minutes, which I agree was a bit disrespectful. Tyler, however, demanded $50,000 as he believed it was a violation of the peace. His reasoning is that Lipsy is part of Nonanopolis, an Astorian city, and therefore is an Astorian citizen, therefore the agreement was violated. There's just one slight issue, however. Lipsy is not an Astorian citizen. He's a foreign diplomat and businessman. He opened a shop in Grandeur Bay, and I told Tyler that the reason why he was in Nonanopolis was to make a shop there. The actual reason, which I learned later and explained to Tyler, is that the person who invited him to Grandeur Bay also has perms to invite people to Nonanopolis and did so by mistake. It still let Lipsy make a shop, so they didn't fix it. Even though we told Tyler this, he insisted it's black and white whether someone is a citizen, and he was. We're obviously not going to pay Tyler $50,000 for violating the peace agreement, and even Tyler's ally can see that the kid is fishing for an excuse to go to war. But despite this, Tyler still probably has it out for us. Now, we aren't going to beg for help as Tyler has to, so we're going to leave it there. Despite Tyler's warmongering, Astoria continues to stand strong, united, and free. Impera duc muntus tu Astoria. Impera Astoria.